What's up guys, it's Austin here with another Saturday Snake School, and in today's video we're not going to be talking too much about snakes. We're going to be talking more about rats, and in this case we feed ASFs here, so we're going to be talking about ASFs and what the appropriate size is to feed your ball python. Before we get into that, huge shout out to Batter Up Pythons. Go and check them out, not slacking on the back. And let's get straight into this video. And right off the bat, if you look into this tub here, you'll see we have a bunch of different size rats. This is about the biggest an ASF will get, and this is about the smallest that we feed in ASF. This is a couple of days old, maybe like 2 to 3 days old. Whoops. He's running everywhere. And then we got every size in between pretty much. We're just going to show you guys what size we feed our ball pythons and how frequent we feed them as well. And just so you guys get a better idea to see if you guys are feeding yours the appropriate meal size, because that's very crucial for them to grow and get to a breeding size if you guys want to breed, or even just to go and maintain a perfect health for your ball python. So let's jump right into that. We're going to start off from biggest to smallest. And right here we have, this is a breeder ASF female. She's pretty big. She's just over 100 grams, and 100 gram ASF has a lot of nutrients in it. They have a lot more nutrients than rats for the same size, and they have a lot less fat as well. So before we get into any feeding, yes, we're going to be feeding this video, but before we get into that, we have to talk about what an appropriate size feeder is, and how we gauge an appropriate size feeder is the circumference of the rat. So we'll work with something a little bit smaller right now. We'll work with this guy. If you were to take your hand and just squeeze it around the rat, try not to get bit if you do, but you'll see the rat is about that big. So we want a snake that is just slightly smaller than this. So if we're looking inside of our male rack here, you can see that this snake, he's a nice breeder male. We'll just go this way just to make it easier, but he pretty much fits inside of what we're looking for. So if we were to feed that rat to this snake, you would see a noticeable lump inside of the belly. It's a little bit bigger, a little bit thicker than the girth of the snake, and that's exactly what we want to see. It ensures that they're getting enough fat, enough protein, and just ensures that the snake is growing well. And I'm actually surprised I'm not getting bit right now with the smell of the ASFs. And that goes for every single snake. So the smaller snakes, the bigger snakes, you kind of just want to gauge the girth of the snake, whether it's a breeder female or whether it's a hatchling. That's where you're going to go and check the size of the rat and just make sure it's a little bit bigger than the girth of the snake. Now let's get into some feeding. Us feeding this is what we feed to our breeder females, and we're going to actually feed them right now. We're just not going to show you guys the live feeding. We're going to come back and show you what it looks like after the snake is eaten, because you want to go and see inside of the snake a nice lump. Not too big, not too small, just to ensure that it's eating the right appropriate size meal. So I'm just going to take this right now, and this girl looks pretty hungry. This fire clown girl, she's a nice size. The girth of this snake is, the girth of this rat is a little bigger than I can squeeze around it. Kind of like the girth of this snake. If you see, it's a little bigger than I can squeeze around. So eating this prey item will definitely go and give a noticeable lump inside of the snake, which is exactly what we want to see. And we'll check back a little bit later. If we're moving down in the rats, we'll go to the second biggest next. And you notice it's about this big. And I'm going to go, this guy looks like he could probably be a little bit hungry. This is a pastel leopard stranger yellow belly clown. And I notice he's about the same size as well. So putting this guy in here, I'm going to feed him this prey item, similar size, similar girth size to him, and hopefully he'll take it, and we'll come check on him as well in a little bit. Came to the whole back room just to go and feed off the smaller rats, because we don't have any smaller snakes in the breeder room. So here, we get this rat. It's about that big, maybe a little smaller, so we're going to look for a snake about the same size. Here we have an Enchi Fire Ultramel. And this looks Mojave as well, and it looks a little bit smaller than what I did, so this would probably be a perfect rat for him. We're just going to close that up and we'll come back and check on him. And then we have one more kind of bigger rat before we get to the hatchling side, and it's pretty small. I don't even have to really put my hand around it, but yep, something like this would be the perfect size for it. If you're looking at the belly, hopefully I don't get tagged here. If you're looking at the size of the rat and the size of the snake, definitely going to leave a noticeable lump, so we're just going to leave that in here. and we'll check back on that in a couple seconds. Down to our last 2 rats, and these are the smallest ones that we feed. This is something that we feed to a little bit bigger than a hatchling, something that we're growing up a little bit, and yeah, something like this rainbow here would be the perfect one for this. So we're just going to toss it in the back and come back and check on that one. They looked about the same size and girth, so that'd be perfect. And this last one is very small, so this is something that we're going to feed to a very small hatchling. We're going to go more at the bottom here. Maybe even something a little smaller than that G-stripe. Something like this other G-stripe is perfect. This is a pastel lesser spot nose G-stripe double het enhancer clown female. And we do have a little bit of shed and poop. It's a good thing she shed. She's about to catch a little bit of a meal. But if you look, you can see that the rat is about the same size as the snake. So we're just gonna leave this in here and come back and check, and you guys will see how each rat did with each snake. It's been some time. We're gonna go and check back on the meals that we fed these snakes. First, starting off with that fire spot nose clown, and we gave it pretty big ASF, around 100 and something grams. And you can see she's a pretty big female, so it's not going to show as much, but right here you can see a little bit of a lump. This is where the ASF is, right in here. And anything bigger than snake, you might want to go and feed it 2 of them, because you can see this one was just enough to go and show a little bit of the meal, and you can see it right from here to here. But generally ASFs do not get bigger than that, so you might have to go and feed rats or a bigger prey item. But we just feed that size. It has a lot of nutrients, a lot of protein, and a lot of calcium. A little less fat than the rats, but way better for your snake in the long run. And we'll go back over here, check on that pastel leopard stranger. Looks like he ate as well. And if we're gonna go and look at his belly, you can see right over here, there is a lump, and that's where the rat is. It's gonna be from here to here. And he doesn't like me messing around with him too much. But this is a perfect size rat for the snake to keep it growing, keep it healthy, and for us breeding, we don't want to keep our males growing too much, so we go a little bit on the smaller size. But you can see he's very plump, he's not lethargic, he's not skinny, he's looking great, and that's the size that we like to feed those. Let's go check on those other ones in the other rooms, and we'll conclude the video. So looking at the smaller snakes, here's that Enchi Mojave Fire Ultramel we fed, and inside again, you could just see a little bit of a lump here inside of the snake. It's noticeable enough that you can see that it ate, but it's not that big where it's immobilizing the snake. The snake can still go and move, get water when it needs, and even thermoregulate without any issue. And I'm sure we fed another one over here. Here's that leopard yellow belly double het monsoon pied, and it's going to show a lot better on this one. As you can see, you got a little bit of a lump right here, and that's exactly the size of the lump that you want to see in your ball python. Once again, it's not going to affect the way that he sits. It's not going to affect the way that he's moving. When he needs to get water, he's able to still go and do everything he can. We're not going to go check on those last 2 because, like the others, it just gets really redundant. We're showing the same thing over and over. But once again, you want the snake and the rat to have similar circumferences. The rat being a little bit bigger in girth than the snake is, just so you can go and see a little bit of a lump. Nothing too big or else your snake's not going to be able to move, and it has that chance of regurging, which you definitely do not want to do. And if you don't know what regurging is, it's regurgitate. It's when the snake throws up the rat. It's not good for their insides. A lot of that stomach acid they use comes up their esophagus, and it's just not good for their insides. And it can also make them not want to eat again in the future. So stay to appropriate size meals and your snakes will be doing amazing. Hope you enjoyed the video. Comment down anything down below you think we might have missed. And we appreciate you guys watching. Let us know what you guys want to see on the next Saturday's Snake School video. And that's it. Peace out.